Agrandmother has died after she was crushed by a wall as she laid in bed when a gigantic gas explosion ripped apart 2 houses yesterday. John Jasper, 79, died during the early hours of this morning after the blast in Birstall, Leicester, reduced her home to rubble. Widower John Jasper was seen making an emotional return to what is left of his home today, after he was pulled to safety from underneath the staircase. Mr Jasper, 80, spoke of his devastation at his wife's death, after she was discovered under a pile of debris, when the house they'd lived in their entire married life was reduced to rubble. I was told she had a massive load of debris on her, and I assumed she would recover, but unfortunately her injuries were just too severe, he said. I'm shocked. Going forward, it's all in the hand of the insurance, so they are going to try and get me some accommodation. Apostrophe, they can't make a decision yet on whether they are going to rebuild on the land or not. I just don't know what I'm going to do from here on in, he added.The retired electrician looked battered and bruised as he returned hours after being discharged from hospital. He had a bruise on his left eye and a cut on his nose as he picked through the remains of his belongings after the explosion next door struck, while he was in his kitchen making a cup of tea. The couple, who had been married for more than 50 years, lived at the semi-detached property their entire marriage. Mr Jasper's brother, Bernard, 73, who lives nearby, said, I have seen my brother after he was discharged from hospital. It's a miracle he's alive, considering the damage to the house.It isn't my place to discuss the condition of Janet. It is up to the immediate family to decide whether to say anything about it, I'm afraid. Apostrophe, before Leicestershire police confirmed Mrs Jasper's death, a neighbour said, it broke my heart to see John coming back to his wrecked home. He looked pretty shaken up, but I know he wouldn't care a hoot about the damage as long as Janet is okay. You can replace things, you can't replace people. Dozens of residents were evacuated from the area during the day, but were allowed to return in the afternoon. The cause of the explosion, which also partly collapsed the house next door, is still under investigation, but is thought to be gas-related, the fire service said. Yesterday, witnesses told of hearing a gigantic explosion at around 7:30 a.m. when the home in Leicester exploded into a giant fireball. Rescuers dramatically pulled Mr Jasper alive from the wreckage, said to have been found with a flight of stairs on top of him. A neighbour's CCTV camera captured the blast, with the resident who recorded it saying, "My CCTV captured the exact moment of the blast." You can see the camera shake violently as the shock wave sends piles of snow and debris across the road. It's a miracle. The exact cause of the explosion has not yet been determined, though numerous residents have said they could smell gas in the area over the weekend. Gas network distributor Cadent confirmed that it was called to the area yesterday to investigate the smell, but a spokesman said the firm could not say if the report was related to the explosion. Pictures from the site, in the Birstall area of the city, reveal debris strewn across the street, windows blown out and door frames hanging off their hinges. John Jasper was one of the first on the scene. After hearing the explosion.He said, "We found one old chap buried in the rubble. He had bad head lacerations and was unconscious, with a flight of stairs on top of him, but he was still breathing." It looks like it was a gas explosion. Tony Timson, 66, who lives several doors down from the house, said, "I heard a gigantic explosion and looked out of the house to see debris flying through the air. The damage was catastrophic. As I came outside a window cleaner was on his way to work. He had stopped and was running up the road to help. Outside the house he said he could hear someone shouting that they were trapped and started trying to dig him out when the fire service arrived. The firefighters immediately told everyone to back off and set up a cordon.It was impressive how quickly they arrived. Newspaper delivery man Liam Owen, 34, described how he was working his round on the road when the building exploded. He said, "It felt like someone pushed me in the back. I thought, what was that? There was a flash of light and bits were flying through the air. If I'd been a bit earlier I could have been hurt." Another neighbour, whose back garden overlooks the property, said, "You can see from here there is hardly any house left." All the roof tiles in the surrounding houses are in a mess too. I was sat with my son-in-law enjoying a cup of tea at 7:30 this morning when we saw a giant fireball go up and a huge boom shook the house. The noise was tremendous. I've seen the front of it. It looks more like a bombed out house you would see in a war zone, not in Leicester. Mr Jasper's brother Bernard, who lives nearby, said, "My brother was downstairs making a cup of tea at the time, and Janet was in bed upstairs. The dividing wall between the two properties collapsed on top of her, basically crushing her in bed. She was airlifted to hospital in Coventry.Her condition is not good.We are all praying they are okay. John is conscious and his son Michael is with him. Their other son Anthony is with Janet. The person added, "I last saw them 2 weeks ago, and they were looking forward to Christmas." We always stop for a chat. Apparently Mrs Jasper is in a bad way in hospital. Everyone is very shocked about what happened. Another neighbour, Lee Russell, said, "I believe that the couple who lived in the attached house have also been lifted to separate hospitals." It was an older couple, and I heard they said they smelled gas yesterday, and even called someone out. It's such a shame to think this could have been avoided. Ms Russell added that the man living in the exploded property had been due to move out the following week. "I think he lived there alone," she said. The cause of the explosion has not been identified, though residents on the street said some reported smelling gas yesterday. A spokesman for cable gas said it currently has engineers on site, but added that it was too early to speculate on the cause. He added, "As a matter of priority, our engineers have made the area safe and work will continue today to test the gas pipes in the street." "We did attend a reported smell of gas in the area yesterday. Whether that's connected to what happened today, we can't say." "We don't know if it is related at all to the explosion today. That will be subject to a further and full investigation." Our priority today has been to ensure the safety of the area, a spokesman for East Midlands Ambulance Service said. One patient has been taken by air ambulance to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Birmingham. One patient has been taken by air ambulance to the Major Trauma Centre in Coventry, and one patient is due to be taken by ambulance to the Leicester Royal Infirmary. Leicestershire Fire and Rescue Service confirmed that everyone had been accounted for after it was initially feared that a fourth person was missing following the blast. Police said in a statement, "Investigations into the cause of the damage are in their very early stages." Nearly 100 houses in the area had their power turned off as a precaution, while emergency services examined the scene. A spokesman for Western Power Distributing told the Leicester Mercury, "We have had to disconnect the electricity mains for safety reasons, which means there are about 95 properties in the area which will be without power for the rest of the morning." Quentin Woodhouse, 61, who lives in Birstall, said, "My mum lives opposite.She's 91. Her front door and windows all blue and thought she was very lucky not to be hurt.She just said it was a very loud bang, no flames as such." And when she came outside, it looked pretty much as it does now, with the roof blown off. Mr Catteringham added, "I was woken up by the bang and pulled my clothes on and ran to do what I could to help." The explosion threw bits of wood into the windows of the houses opposite, and all the cars have smashed windows. Charnwood Borough Councillor Roy Rowlings said that Birstall Village Hall had been set up for residents in need of emergency accommodation. A spokesman for the local authority said, "We will be ensuring residents' welfare is looked after and have officers on the scene, including from our building control team."